Hi, my name is Rinson and this is Ray. Today we're gonna make a, tutorial video for the processing for wastewater. So first we need to grab the lab card from here. Then we're gonna grab the water sample from the fridge. It's gonna be in the red box. But keep in mind that every time we need to throw the trash in the red box. The trash is in the plastic bag. Trash. Yeah. We also need to put this ice bar in the fridge. The bottles usually goes to here. Okay, then we need to prepare for the ventilation hood. Turn on the power, light, ventilation outlet. Hi. 안녕하세요. I'm making a tutorial video.
Huh?
Okay, so now we need to put all the water samples into the ventilation hood. We need to spray some alcohol for disinfection. Disinfect the bottles. Also, disinfect your hands before you work in the Good.
告诉我。
好。Okay, so now we're gonna transfer the supernatant to the bottles. So we want to keep as much as we just want to keep the sediments at the bottom. So you're gonna make sure you don't shake your hands. Keep it steady. So as you can see, there's a line right here. This is the maximum you can put in this bottle. It's gonna be 1,000 milligrams. Milliliters. Okay, so usually we will leave about this much. Now we're gonna mark the bottle location and date. Now for the second sample. Now we're gonna repeat the same steps. Transfer the supernatant to the bottle. Pour it gently, slow. When it reaches this line, stop. Mark the bottle location and date. You can always find clean bottles on this table. This bottles has been autoclaved, so it's clean. Disinfect the bottle. If you see any writings on the bottle, just spray some alcohol and you can wipe it off. Okay, I'm gonna use napkin. We want to keep as much of sediments as possible at the in the bag, because we need those sediments for centrifuge and for filtration. Mark the location and date. Now we need to put all these bottles on this cart. We need to clear out the working area. Also, we need to spray some ethanol on these bottles because it's dirty. You need to make sure this area is clean, because when you transfer the supernatant, you will always spray some water on the surface. Now we're gonna prepare for the centrifuge. You need to grab the centrifuge tube. The centrifuge tube is very special. It's polypropylene. So when you look for the centrifuge tubes, you need to make sure you see polypropylene materials. Only this one works. We also need a rack. It's usually here. So now we're gonna do the centrifuge. The total number of the centrifuge tube needs to be even number. So we're gonna look at the turbidity. So this sample looks very turbid. It has a lot of sediments. So we're gonna use 2 tubes for this one. This one is also turbid. So 2. This one looks better. It's slightly turbid. We're gonna use 3 tubes. And this one also 3. This one we're gonna make it 2. So this one looks is more clear than the first one, but we need some leftovers for filtration. So we're only gonna use 2 tubes for the last one. So generally, if the solution is very turbid, we don't need too many tubes, because our goal is to collect the sediments in the solution. If the solution has already has a lot of sediments, we don't need too many tubes. So every time we pour it, we usually pour to this 35 milliliter line. It doesn't have to be accurate because we need to adjust the volume later, but just try to make it like close to 35. Pour it slow. And for this steps, we want the sediments, as much sediments as possible in the tube. So you always want to shake the bag before you start pouring. Also mark the location and date. So for centrifuge tubes, we'll also need to mark how many, like the tube numbers. So for Eastland, for EL, we have 2 tubes. We're gonna mark EL1 and EL2, and so on. See you. If you pour too much in the tubes, you can pour it back. The tube is clean, so it doesn't contaminate the sample. Same thing, name, date, and tube number. So for the second sample, we have 2 tubes. So you can see is the tube, the sample name, and 1 and 2. So the next step, we need to balance the tubes. We need to so in total we have 10 tubes. We need to have 5 pairs. Each pair of tubes should have the same weight. We have a notebook. We're gonna measure the weight for each tube and record it on the notebook. Set it to 0. Take it out. Yeah, we need to wait it to stabilize. No, leave it here. So this one is 3324. It should be 33241. The weight is 48.94. No, I think it's it's 2. Yeah, so we put in here the weights and the 2. And the second one, so before we measure, we need to reset it to 0. $33,241 is 49.4. Now reset. Make sure it's 0. The next one will be 39561. The weight is 4905. Reset. 39562. $48.43. Now we're gonna repeat the same step for each tube. So now we got all the weight. We need to pick 5 pairs. For each pairs, they should have the equal weight. If they don't, we need to use the pipettes to adjust the volume and make it at the same weight. The reason why we need the tubes at the same weight, because this is like the centrifuge machine. We need to put the equal weight tubes on both sides, because the centrifuge machine will rotate really fast. If the weight is not balanced, it will damage the machine. So now we have 5 pairs. We have 10 tubes in total. It's gonna be 5 pairs. So first we're gonna pick the tubes that have the weight difference is plus or minus 0.005. Let's see if we have it. Okay, let's check from the first one. Yeah, so this one and this one, they have 0.003 difference. So this one, these tubes do not need adjustment. And for the second one, it seems we don't have any tubes close to the second one. So we're gonna make these as a pair, but we need to adjust it later. This one. Okay. So this will pair with this one. It has 0.02 difference, so it should be good. 48.78. You can pair with this one. For this one, okay. So now we got all the pairs. Even if we have any a pair that their weight is below 0.05 difference, we still need to recheck, because sometimes the weight scale is not accurate. It can be affected by air or water drops, so it has a lot of uncertainties. We need to, even if we have decided our pairs, we need to recheck. So now we're gonna reweight these tubes. Before we proceed to the next step, we need to prepare for the pipettes and pipette tips. So usually we use 1000 micrograms pipettes. You can see from here, it's 1000. We also need the waste container. It's usually right here. Grab an empty bottle. Okay. So now we're gonna check the first pair. The first pair is 49.4 and 49.37. It's very close to each other. It's below 0.05 difference, but we still need to recheck. So we're gonna do Eastland 1. You don't need to open it. We are rechecking the weight. Okay, the weight is 49.36. It's almost the same. We got 49.37 earlier. So now we're gonna check 33241. 49.41. Let's see, we got 49.4 before, so these two are accurate, so these two are ready to go. I'll mark it as paired. Okay, so the next pair would be 3.242 and 39561, and these two has greater difference, so we may need to use a pipette to adjust the weight. So you always want to measure the lighter one, because we need to remove the liquid from the heavier one later. So we're gonna use the lighter one as standard. The lighter one is 33242. Let's see what the weight is. Okay. Lighter one weight is 48.99. So keep this number in mind. So for the heavier one, we need to open the cap because we need to remove the liquid from this. Use the pipette. Slow. Now close the cap and recheck the weight. $49.01. What's the other one? $48.97. It's 0.04 difference below 0.05, so it's good to go. Well, mark is ready. So the next pair is 39562 and EL2. These two are close to each other, so we're gonna recheck the weight. $48.44. $48.47. Close enough. So this pair is ready. Now we just repeat the same step for the rest of the groups. Also keep in mind when you use pipettes, try not to touch any like surface. If your pipette tips like this bottom part, if you touch the waste bottle, you have to get a new one because it's contaminated. So for each tubes, you need a new pipette tips. So every time when you draw a pipette tips from this box, you need to close the cap because it's very dirty in the ventilation fluid. So now after we balance all the tubes, we need to add the COVID vaccine for cow in these tubes. So we still need the pipette. For this process. We need to set it to 350 is gonna be, because the scale of this is 1000, so 35 right here means 350. Remove all the caps, but you need to remember like which cap belongs to which. Make sure the pipette tips doesn't touch the tube surface. Cool. Now we're gonna do the centrifuge. Before do the centrifuge, we need to shake the tubes. We need to make sure the vaccine and is well mixed with the solution, and tighten the cap. And this is the centrifuge machine. It has to be trained before you operate. Gonna turn on the machine. every time you use the centrifuge machine, you should put your name on the notebook. Okay, remove the cap. Keep in mind, if you want to use this machine, you have to be trained by Dr. G. If you haven't, just you can go to his office and ask for help. Each pair should be going to the
One to A, right?
Yeah.
To 9.
Make sure it's tightened. Okay, good. Close the top. Make sure it's okay, good. So now select the rotor. So we are using 42. Right. Press enter. Check the time. 30 minutes. 10,000 G. 15 degrees C. Now we can press start. So we need to wait here for a minute. Just want to make sure the machine is running correctly. You see it's accelerating. Okay, the sound is good. Okay, good. We can go now. We'll come back in 30 minutes. So the next step, we're gonna storage the sample, but we also need to clean out the area. We are not going to use the pipette in the next step, so we need to put it back. And yeah, make sure you turn this back to 1000. Okay. So for the storage tube, it doesn't have to be polypropylene materials, but for right now we only have this kind of tube, so we're gonna use the centrifuge tube for storage. The maximum level of this tube is 50 milliliters, so we're gonna pour it to 50. You want to pour everything in this tube. If you spill something, clean this up. If it is too much, you can transfer some of those into the next tube. If spill happens, clean up the area first. Gonna remove all the tubes. Yeah, bring this to the sink and wash it. So we need to use some bleach. Bleach first. And then ethanol. Sometimes the sediment is very sticky, so we want to be very careful about that. Okay, don't make it too full. spill is very normal, so we just need to clean it up. So basically we're gonna repeat the same steps for the rest. So when you label the storage tubes, you don't need to mark the tube numbers. Just write down the name, the location and date. This is another sheet we need to work on. As you can see, we need to, today is November 16th. I'll write it down here. And then we need to record the volume for each samples, including supernatant, centrifuge, and leftover. Leftover means the storage volume. Okay, so let's do the supernatant volume first. For the first one is 181543. Let's see. Okay, we got 3 bottles of these. So 2 of them are 1,000 ml, and this one is about it's about a little bit above 200. We'll round it to 200. So for these samples, it's gonna be 2,200. So it's gonna be 2,200 for this one. For 3324, we got 2 bottles. This is 1,000, and this is about 400. So it's 1,400. Next one is 187695. We got 3 bottles. 2 bottles are 1,000 ml, so it's 2,200. Another one is 3956. Got 2 bottles. It's gonna be 1,300. So the last one is it shows it's golf field, but we're not taking any samples there anymore. Gonna change it to Eastland. Eastland, we have 2 bottles. It's gonna be 1,600. Okay, so now we have the supernatant volume. Now we need to figure out the centrifuge volume. We're gonna check the notebook. So for each centrifuge tubes, we have about 35 milliliters. So for this one, 181543, we got 2 tubes for centrifuge. So it's gonna be 35 times 2. So 70 mil. For 3324, We have 2 tubes plus 70, 187,695. 3 tubes, it's gonna be 105. 3956. 3 tubes, 105. Eastland, 2 tubes, 70. Okay, now we just need to wait for the leftovers, which is the storage water. So while we're waiting for that, let's take a note on the turbidity. So for 181543, you can say is turbid. We can see a lot of sediments here, so I would say it's very turbid. For 3324, is slightly turbid. So the next one, 187. This one is also slightly turbid. $3956. A lot of sediments. It's very turbid. Eastland, I would say this one is turbid. It's not too much, but still have some sediments. Okay, so for this pH and percent of sediments, we're gonna fill these columns later. We have collected all the samples for storage. Now we need to dispose these waste bags. These bags goes to the hazard waste. It's full. Oh, it's full. This one is better. If you have some water in the container, you can pour water in these bags and close it. We still need these containers, so don't throw it away. We need some ethanols to disinfect. If you spill anything on the ground, remember to clean it up. Okay. So this container goes to here, as we mentioned earlier. Goes to here. So while we're waiting for the centrifuge, we're gonna test the pH. pH test paper is usually here. So pH paper. We need to put one of each sample in the hood and turn it upside down. Okay. Upside down. Open the cap. Dip the test paper in the cap and compare with the color on this stuff. So this one, okay. Let me see. It should be 6.8. 6.8. Okay. So what is the sample name? Okay, it's 3956. We're gonna write 6.8 right here.
哇，你怎么能出洗掉的呀？
The centrifuge is ready. You can see it says stop. So now we can open the lid. when we pull it out, we need to do it slow. We don't want the sediments mixed with the liquid again. We need to put the lid back on. And turn off the machine. Okay, we're done. Now we are do the cleaning. We're adding 10% bleach. Now we're gonna transfer the liquid to the waste bottle. Be careful because the sediment is at the bottom. Okay, if your tips touch the waste bottle, you need to get a new one.
回来，做一个错误示范。
You need to do it very slow. You don't want to suck the sediment up. Wait, don't touch the bottle. Okay, great. So for this long tips, so it has a maximum level. You can see a zero line here. So try not to let the liquid level above the zero line. So for these kind of tubes, 35 mil, you need to transfer 2 times. Okay. So when you are doing for the next sample, you're gonna change to new long tips. But for the same sample, it's fine. Now we're gonna do the transfer the sediment to these small tubes. So one is for extraction. Extraction doesn't need too much. A small amount. Yeah, this should be enough. Or a little bit more, maybe double of this amount. Yeah, a little bit more. Also, you need to remember like how much you have take out from the initial sediment. If you only take out like 10% of those sediments, you're gonna require 10% on the sheet. And it looks like this is a lot of sediments. We might need to make it maybe 10%. Okay, this is enough for extraction already. For the storage tubes, it doesn't. You can put as much as you want. It doesn't have to be small amount because it's for storage, and you don't need to remember the percentage for the storage tubes. Only for the extraction. So you want to evenly distribute these sediments in those 3 storage tubes. Sometimes it may be you only need to do 2 storage tubes, but today we're gonna prepare another sample for another student, so we are doing 3 storage tubes plus 1 extraction. Be careful. Just repeat the same steps for the rest of the samples. Now we got all the leftovers volume. We need to add this up, and so we also need to write the percent of sediments right here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of it. So the last step would be clean these bottles. So these tubes, I mean. So these tubes goes to the hazard waste. Also the caps. I only got one hand now because my another hand is holding the camera. So I'll just verbally explain the last step. So after we clean all this up, we need to return the lab cart to the Dr. Chi's office. It's in the hallway. And also remember, if you got any spills or contaminants on the lab cart, you need to clean it up. Yeah, that's all of the experiment. Thanks for watching.